John, what's going on? How are you?
Man, nothing's going on. It's been a pretty quiet day around Creighton. I'm good. How are you guys?
We are doing tremendous. Let me ask you this, John, to kick off the conversation, because this is the new. And for those who are just joining us, who honestly don't know, I guess we should reset it a little bit. Greg McDermott.
I guess.
Greg McDermott.
If they're here for college football.
Yes. Greg McDermott will at some point, obviously, not be the head coach of Creighton basketball, but more importantly for this conversation, Al Huss is the head coach in waiting. Creighton has now officially announced it within the last hour or so. Earlier today, Jeff Goodman first report. John also had it that this sounds like it'll be happening at some point within the next 2 seasons. But John, I wanted to kick off the conversation by asking you this. This news or this report, rumor, whatever you want to refer to it as, had been like out there in the ether over the last couple of weeks. I had not been able to confirm it. I imagine you had not been able to confirm it. So like, why did it take until today for this to become 100% official, where a lot of people suddenly were talking to all of the college basketball reporters around the country, yourself included?
Yeah, it's as you said, it has been in the work for weeks at this point, not a week, weeks. It's been in the work for a while. Been in the works for a while. Why it all came to a head today, I'm not exactly sure. This morning specifically, I'm not exactly sure, but it was expected to happen if it was going to, sometime between, let's say yesterday and by the middle of next week. Greg McDermott has a rich history of making things happen over Final Four weekends. Like, that's when all the coaches go and congregate and go to conferences and award ceremonies. And it's kind of the for people in this neck of the woods to understand, it's kind of the Berkshire Hathaway of college basketball coaches. Nice. In a way. That's good, huh?
No, that's very good. I like that.
And that's essentially what it is. And so all of these coaches talk and whatever. Well, the fact of the matter is, a lot of coaching search stuff goes down over Final Four weekend as well. And as everyone knows, Alan Huss was one of the hottest names in this year's coaching cycle. He definitely would have been one of maybe the hottest name in next year's coaching cycle. And he turned down a lot of jobs because he knew this was in the works. And none of those places quite moved the needle for Alan Huss. At least not enough for him to leave. And Creighton certainly did that, a place that he obviously has deep ties to, played for Dana Altman, coached on Greg McDermott's staff, and eventually, sometime in the next couple of years, he'll be handed the keys to a program that he's been a part of for a really, really, really long time, and will continue to be a part of for a really, really long time. So why did all this happen today? I'm not exactly sure. Just kind of everything had settled down and everything had finalized, really. It's kind of that simple.
Okay, John, so I just kind of want to differentiate this from what you just said. Was it Coach Mack that started this conversation, or was it Creighton that started this conversation?
No, it sounds like it was Greg McDermott. He obviously had the open spot on his bench after Ryan Miller left. And obviously, I don't know. I'd imagine it's not this way at most schools in the country. It certainly hasn't been this way at Creighton. The administration doesn't go to the head coach and say, hey, here's who your assistant's going to be, right? Like Greg McDermott, one, does because that's just what a coach does. And two, if anybody's earned the right to do it, it's Greg McDermott. At Creighton anyway, pick their staff. And so it sounds like he started mulling the possibility of a succession plan with that open spot. And then obviously that's kind of where we are now, again, weeks later. But it sounds like, from my understanding, that it was a McDermott-led move because, again, he kind of gets to pick his staff.
Jon Walker, Omaha World-Herald, joining us on a very busy day, as Greg McDermott will be handing the reins at some point soon to Al Huss to be the next coach of the Creighton men's basketball program. John, so let's talk about the timeline. As you wrote earlier, bringing him back to his alma mater now solidifies a seamless transition once McDermott, the winningest coach in program history, eventually hangs it up, which a source said is expected to happen sometime in the next 2 seasons. I imagine you, like us, when the official word came down, you looked and looked and looked to see if there was anything in there about a timeline. Unsurprisingly, there was not. Do you think we're looking at 2 years here, or is there a possibility that it is just a one and done, or is that an impossible question to answer on this Thursday, April the 10th?
Yeah, if to give you the really run of the mill political answer, like, it is hard to say. It's almost impossible to decide, right? But I from what I was told, it's expected to happen sometime in the next 2 years. And then, speculatively, which I hate doing, but I will do for the sake of conversation.
Thank you.
Speculatively, like, yeah, who's to say that it doesn't go super well this year? And Greg McDermott says, dude, do I really want to finish a season and hop on another plane and hop on another plane and hop on another plane and host this kid and fundraise this money and coach a team? Like, it's a lot. It is a lot for coaches nowadays. And we've seen that over the past few years. Coaches, notably Mike Krzyzewski, Nick Saban, and when it comes to football, and I'm sure, I'm obviously missing a few, and I'm sure we'll have a few over the next couple of seasons. But in theory, it could be. I don't think so. I think Greg McDermott would love to go out with Jackson McAndrew. Would love to go out with, let's assume he's only here 2 more years, right? Like, he's going to be a pretty darn good player. And then 2 years from now would also be Jason Green, Isaac Trout, Owen Freeman. It'd be all 3 of their, I'm missing somebody in there, but it'd be their senior seasons. And so 2 seasons from now would kind of feel like a natural transition point. But who's to say that, after another year in a coaching gauntlet for what today's landscape is, that Greg McDermott couldn't say, yeah, trust or Huss, I obviously brought you here for a reason. You came here for a reason. Here are the keys. Could happen. I think we're more so operating on the 2-year timeline.
Jon, I know you've kind of said it in passing a little bit there, but is this all this that's come out today, all the decision making, all the announcement, everything? Do you get the feeling that this was more of Huss's availability over the next however X amount of years, or the amount of years left for McDermott?
Probably a combination of both, but certainly more of the first. Because the fact of the matter is, and this has been in the public eye, for the last however many weeks, a lot of coaching searches this offseason included Alan Huss's name. And so you knew that he was one of the coaches of this cycle. Okay. And similarly, it felt like next off season, he would have been in store for a coaching carousel, much like Darian DeVries was this off season, that Alan Huss would have been able to, in a sense, have the pick of the litter at a few of the top jobs in next year's cycle. And so if he, let's say here that if he would, I don't know, if Alan Huss was named the guy at Kansas, long shot, obviously, but I'm just spitballing here. But he really wanted to be at Creighton. Like, he wouldn't go to Kansas or go to another high major job, and then when Greg McDermott retired, say, "Oh yeah, sorry, I've only been here for a year. See ya," or 2 years, see ya. It's a lot harder to do that at a high major school than it is a mid major like High Point. And don't get me wrong, guys. Like, this was a very, very, very hard decision for Alan Huss to make. He's happy down at High Point. He has support from the administration, and the program has all the resources that he could have asked for. So it was a super, super, super hard decision, but I do think it's more about Huss's availability moving forward than it was Greg McDermott rushing to leave Creighton. Yeah, I think it's more the former.
Okay, so I just want to follow up just on that. So if you're
Please.
Huss and you like High Point so much, but you know, and you're in communication with Mac, like you have said, and this started through Mac, why not just stay at High Point? Why give up your head coaching role to then come back and be an assistant? Is there a dollar amount that you can maybe guess that maybe is there a chance that he's making more money at Creighton as an assistant that coach in waiting gives him? Was there something else that turned him away other than the availability of just being like, no, I just want to make my move to Omaha a little bit sooner?
Yeah, it was, I can't really, I'd be lying if I said I could give you a dollar amount, welcome to covering a private university.
Right.
So I don't really know on that front, but Alan Huss wanted to be home. Like this is home for him. He's from a couple hours away in Kansas City. Obviously played at Creighton. Dana Altman had a strong impact on him in his life when he played here, and obviously Greg McDermott had a strong impact on him in his life when he spent 6 seasons on his staff. Like Alan Huss met his wife at Creighton, or they both went to Creighton. You know what I mean? Like this place is home, and it was kind of a surefire opportunity for both. It was a surefire opportunity for both Creighton to get their guy and for Alan Huss to get the spot that he wanted. And when you kind of get that marriage of two parties who want things so badly at the same time and everything lines up, why wait?
John, last one, and then we'll let you go. And we really appreciate you joining us today. You know how busy you've been.
Of course.
Why is Huss the right guy at this time? I know that there was some conversation earlier. Most of it was, in fairness, from Nebraska people wondering, like, hey, what's up? Like, why is this the guy? Given his track record, only 2 years as a head coach, and now he's going to be an assistant until he becomes the next head coach. This is a program that has become a regular occurrence in the NCAA tournament. They're making deep runs, et cetera, et cetera. All that to say, like, they could probably fish in a bigger pond if they wanted to. So why decide to go this way? Why is he the right guy?
Well, it sounds like Greg McDermott, as I said, this was kind of a Greg McDermott-led move.
Mm-hmm.
As I said a little bit earlier, like if anybody, we'll find out hopefully a lot more. I don't know if they're going to have a press conference per se. They're still trying to work on all of that while Huss is still in North Carolina or South Carolina. I can't remember. But he's still in Carolina. So they're not going to have a press conference like today or tomorrow. So hopefully we find out more soon, but it sounds like, again, this was a McDermott-led move. And as I mentioned earlier, like if anybody gets a say in what happens after, like it's the guy who helped build the program, like who helped the program very successfully transition from the Missouri Valley to the Big East. And then, good on Father Hendrickson, good on Marcus Blossom for kind of helping and allowing this to happen, because they very easily could have said, no, we want our own guy. We want to go hire from elsewhere. Well, okay. Now you bring back a lifelong Blue Jay, both as a player and a coach, and now as effectively the coach in waiting to succeed McDermott. And at the same time, you kind of honor the past by letting McDermott decide, it seems. And at the same time as that, Marcus Blossom gets a guy to fill a role that he's familiar with. Like Marcus Blossom and Alan Huss overlapped 2 years at Creighton. So they're familiar with each other. And like I said, it's kind of a perfect marriage on all three sides. Huss wanted to be here. Mac wanted Huss to be here. And Creighton's administration wanted to both let McDermott kind of have a say in that, as he should. And they got their guy who they were confident in, it seems like, the whole time.
Jon Walker, read all of his great work in the paper, Omaha World-Herald, or online at omaha.com. Continuing coverage can be found there. John, excellent stuff. Again, we appreciate you joining us on such short notice on such a busy day. We look forward to reading your continuing coverage.
Thanks, guys.